Love is delicate, fragile, easily shattered under the weight of deception. My marriage, once a sanctuary, now felt like a beautifully decorated house rotting from within. I was blind to the decay for too long, lost in the illusion that Sophia and I were still the same couple who fell in love years ago. Sophia, my wife, my world, my greatest weakness. When I first met her, she radiated charm, a woman whose presence could silence a room. Her golden curls, sharp wit, and effortless laughter captivated me instantly. She wasn't just beautiful, she was intoxicating. We met by chance in a coffee shop on a rainy afternoon. She had spilled caramel latte all over my paperwork, apologizing with nervous giggles. That moment led to long conversations, late-night calls, and eventually, a love so intense I believed nothing could break it. I was wrong. Marriage started with passion, weekends spent wrapped in each other's arms, whispered confessions in the dark. But slowly, cracks formed. Subtle at first, missed calls, distant glances, a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. I ignored them, convincing myself that every relationship had rough patches. Then she changed. Sophia had never been overly social, yet suddenly, she embraced late nights and office gatherings with an enthusiasm that felt unnatural. She used to complain about company functions, but now she counted down the days to every event. I asked why. "Networking," she said casually, sipping red wine on our balcony. "It's good for my career." Something about her answer unsettled me. She started dressing differently. Sleek, form-fitting dresses, high heels even on casual Fridays, perfume heavier than before. My gut screamed for answers, but I silenced it, unwilling to admit the possibility of betrayal. Then came the secrecy. A phone that never left her hand. Late-night text messages she wouldn't answer around me. Gym memberships despite her lifelong hatred for workout. She was careful, always erasing conversations, but shadows of truth lurked in her eyes. One night, my doubts consumed me. She had left her phone unattended while showering. The screen lit up, a message from someone named Daniel. "Daniel, can't wait to see you tonight. Last time was amazing." My breath caught in my throat. Hands trembling, I scrolled further. Their exchanges were flirtatious, filled with inside jokes, longing, secrecy. Pictures of them at bars, stolen moments captured in dim lighting. Nothing explicit, but enough to make my blood run cold. I wanted to wake her up, demand answers, break something, anything, to release the fury inside me. But then, a dangerous thought whispered in my mind. Wait. Find proof. Strike when she least expects it. For the next few weeks, I played the role of the oblivious husband. I kissed her goodbye every morning, asked about her day, feigned laughter at her forced stories. Meanwhile, I gathered evidence: phone records, credit card transactions, GPS tracking. Each discovery was another knife in my chest. Hotel bookings under her name. Late-night Uber rides to places she never mentioned. A pattern emerged, and at the center of it all was Daniel. Then, the final piece fell into place. Sophia excitedly mentioned an upcoming work party, an exclusive event at a luxury hotel. "It's a big deal," she said, eyes shining. "I really have to go." I kept my expression neutral. "You're not expecting me to come, right?" She hesitated, just for a second before shaking her head. "You hate these things. I wouldn't want you to be uncomfortable." I forced a smile. "You're right. Enjoy yourself." Relief flickered in her expression, confirming what I already knew. She wanted me nowhere near that event. Little did she know I had other plans. That night, as she kissed me goodbye and walked out the door, I sat in silence, listening to the echo of her heels clicking down the hallway. My heart ached, but anger burned brighter. This wasn't just about betrayal anymore. It was about revenge. The moment Sophia left for the party, I sprang into action. No hesitation, no second-guessing, just cold, calculated purpose. I had already prepared for this night. A tailored black suit, polished shoes, and an expensive watch. Presentation mattered. If I was going to expose her in front of everyone, I needed to do it with style. The luxury hotel stood tall against the city skyline, its golden lights shimmering like a beacon for the wealthy and powerful. I arrived unnoticed, blending into the crowd with practiced ease. The grand ballroom pulsed with music, laughter, and the clinking of expensive champagne flutes. And there she was. Sophia stood near the bar, absolutely radiant in a midnight blue gown that hugged her curves. She threw her head back in laughter, fingers grazing the forearm of the man beside her, Daniel. He was taller than I expected, broad-shouldered, effortlessly confident. His hand rested on the small of her back, his touch lingering just a little too long. She didn't pull away. Rage simmered beneath my calm exterior, but I swallowed it down. I hadn't come here to make a scene, I had come to ruin them both. Moving to a quiet corner, I pulled out my phone and discreetly snapped a few photos. Evidence. Proof of their betrayal. Not that I needed more, but this would serve as a final, damning blow. I watched as Daniel leaned in, whispering something against Sophia's ear. She giggled, pressing her palm against his chest in a way that made my blood boil. You really think I wouldn't find out, Sophia? Instead of storming over, I decided to be patient. I signaled to a passing waiter, slipping him a generous tip. See that woman in the blue dress? I asked, nodding toward Sophia. The waiter glanced over and gave a slight nod. Keep sending her drinks. Tell her they're from Daniel. Amusement flickered in his eyes, but he did as instructed. Minutes passed. The first drink arrived. Then the second. By the time she reached her fourth glass, her movements grew bolder. Her laughter was louder, her hands more daring. She ran fingers along Daniel's collar, lips parting as if she might kiss him right there in front of everyone. Perfect. The party's host, a middle-aged man in a crisp tuxedo, tapped his champagne glass, calling for attention. A toast, he announced, smiling as the crowd quieted. To successful partnerships, thriving careers, and, perhaps, a few unexpected romances. Laughter rippled through the room. Time to strike. I stepped forward, my voice cutting through the air like a knife. Speaking of unexpected romances, I have a question. Every head turned. The chatter died down. Sophia froze. Her glass slipped from her fingers, shattering against the marble floor. Daniel stiffened, sensing trouble. I met his gaze with a slow, deliberate smile. Daniel, how does it feel to pursue a married woman? Or did Sophia forget to mention she has a husband? A collective gasp rippled through the room. Eyes widened, whispers spread like wildfire. Sophia's face drained of color. What are you doing here?" she stammered. I tilted my head, feigning confusion. "Shouldn't I be asking you that?" The silence stretched, thick and suffocating. Then, chaos erupted. The tension in the ballroom became suffocating. Conversations stopped, music faded, and every pair of eyes locked onto Sophia, Daniel, and me. The weight of my words crashed over them like a tidal wave. Sophia's breath hitched. Her hands trembled at her sides, fingers curling into the fabric of her midnight blue dress. "You're ruining everything," she hissed, voice barely above a whisper. I smirked. "Oh no, sweetheart. You did that yourself." Daniel, to his credit, didn't immediately run. Instead, he straightened his tie, trying to regain his composure. "I don't know who you think you are, but—" I cut him off with a sharp laugh. "Oh, you don't recognize me? That's rich. I'm the husband of the woman you've been screwing behind my back. I'm the man she swore to love and remain faithful to. And you." I let my words linger. "You're the fool dumb enough to fall for a married woman's lies." The crowd murmured, excitement crackling like static electricity. Office gossip had never been this good. Sophia's eyes darted around, desperate for an escape. She reached for my arm, her voice shaking. "Please, let's talk about this privately." I yanked my arm away. "Now you want privacy? After flaunting your affair at a public event." I gestured toward the guests, their shocked expressions frozen in delight. "You made your bed, Sophia. Now lie in it." Daniel turned to her, suspicion clouding his features. You told me you were divorcing him. I let out a cold chuckle. Oh? That's news to me. Sophia's face twisted into a mask of desperation. I was going to tell you, she whispered to Daniel. I just needed time. Time? The audacity sent a surge of fury through my veins. You needed time? Funny, because you had plenty of it when you were sneaking around with him, booking hotel rooms, and sending him late-night texts while I was at home like a damn fool. Daniel paled. You told me you two were done. I crossed my arms. You should have checked your facts. Sophia grabbed his hand. Daniel, But he ripped it away. No. You lied to me. The room had reached a fever pitch. Colleagues whispered, exchanging knowing glances. Sophia's pristine reputation crumbled before our eyes. I wasn't done. I reached into my pocket, pulling out my phone. With a few swipes, I mirrored my screen onto the massive projector behind the stage. Every text, every call log, every receipt appeared for the entire crowd to see. Gasp. A woman's nervous laugh. A waiter nearly dropped his tray. Sophia's breathing turned ragged. You're a monster. I met her glare with an icy stare. No, Sophia. You are. Daniel took a step back, hands raised in surrender. I'm done with this. He turned and disappeared into the crowd, leaving her alone. She turned back to me, eyes pleading. Please, let's go home and talk. I shook my head, my voice calm, final. There is no home anymore. Then, I walked away, leaving her to drown in the mess she created. I stepped out of the ballroom, the night air cool against my heated skin. My heart pounded, adrenaline still rushing through my veins. The city stretched before me, alive with honking cars, neon lights, and people lost in their own world. But behind me? Behind me lay the ruins of my marriage, shattered and exposed for all to see. Sophia had always been a master manipulator, weaving lies with the grace of a seasoned actress. But tonight? Tonight, the curtain had fallen. I walked toward my car, my mind replaying the chaos I had unleashed inside that grand hotel. I had given her every chance, every benefit of the doubt, yet she had taken my love and twisted it into something unrecognizable. I deserved better. I always had. The soft click of heels against pavement made me stop. I didn't need to turn around to know who it was. Please, Sophia's voice cracked as she spoke. Don't walk away like this. I exhaled slowly before turning to face her. The confident, glamorous woman who had once held my heart now looked nothing like the Sophia I had known. Her makeup was smudged, her mascara staining her cheeks, and her lips trembled as she tried to hold herself together. You humiliated me, she whispered, wrapping her arms around herself as if trying to shield herself from the cold. Or maybe from the weight of her own actions. I tilted my head, studying her. No, Sophia. You did that to yourself. Tears welled in her eyes, but I felt nothing. No sympathy. No regret. Just an overwhelming sense of freedom. You don't understand, she pleaded, stepping closer. I never wanted to hurt you. I let out a hollow laugh. Yet you did. Over and over again. She swallowed hard. I was lost. I made mistakes. Mistakes? That word felt like an insult. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary. A mistake is saying something in anger. What you did was a choice. A series of choices. Her face crumpled. I still love you. I shook my head. No, Sophia. You love the security I gave you. The home, the stability, the life we built. But love? Real love? You threw that away the moment you crawled into another man's arms. She reached for me, but I stepped back. Please, let's fix this, she begged. We can go to therapy, work through it. I swear, I'll be better. For a brief second, the old part of me, the man who had once worshipped her, wanted to believe her. Wanted to take her home, hold her, pretend none of this ever happened. But that man was gone. I don't want to fix it, I said, my voice firm. I deserve more than this, more than you. She let out a strangled sob. I don't want to lose you. I gave her a sad smile. You already have. Turning away, I climbed into my car, gripping the steering wheel as a strange sense of peace washed over me. For the first time in a long time, I was free. As I drove off, leaving Sophia and the wreckage of our marriage behind, I didn't look back.